All right, so under the umbrella of learning statistics, probably for the first time in high school, like AP Stats, you may be asked to do a stem and leaf, or some textbooks will call it a stem plot. And usually you'll actually be given a raw data set, and the first thing you have to do is rewrite them in order from least to greatest. That's going to make it way easier to actually go through the process of making the stem and leaf. And we've already done that, just for sake of time and space, on our little blackboard here. But making the actual stem and leaf is a pretty easy process. After I've got my data in order, I can see that my smallest number is in the tens place, and my largest number is in the 40s. So I'm going to start my stems that are going to be the digits that are in the tens place of my data. So I've got some data that have a 1 in the tens place. I've got some data that have a 2 in the tens place. I've got some data that have a 3 in the tens place. And then my largest number is 40, so I'm going to need a 4 representing the tens place. On the other side, I'm going to list all the ones digits that are attached to this particular digit in the tens place. So for instance, I've only got 19. It's the only thing that begins with a 1. So I'm going to put 9 here, and I'm done with my first row entirely. On the other hand, I've got lots of entries in the 20s. So I'm going to have this 2, and then 0, and 1 for this 21, and then 2 for this 22, 4, 6, and 6 again. If it shows up twice, write it twice. 7 for 27, 3 8s, because there's 3 28s, and then 2 9s. Do the 30s the exact same way. My smallest 30 is 31, so I'm going to skip over 0, write a 1, and then I have 3 2s, a 3, and then 3 4s, a 5 for 35, a 7 for my 37, and a 9 for my 39. And then finally I finish out, I only had one number in the 40s, 40 itself, so I'm going to follow this 4 with a single 0. And that's my whole stem and leaf. Now this is the simplest example of a stem and leaf. We only represented each tens place once. We still can get a little bit of information out of this. We can look at this almost as if it was a sideways histogram and see that the numbers seem to clump together in the middle. 19 and 40 represent categories that we just barely break into, so everything seems to be bunched up in the center, and fairly symmetric. These are about the same length, and the 19 and the 40, each only one entry in those two. But if we wanted to get more information, we might want to make our stem and leaf a little bit better. And you can do that by breaking up your 10s and your 20s and your 30s and your 40s into 2 categories apiece. Your lower teens, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and then your upper teens, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and so on, with the 20s broken up from 20 to 24, and 25 through 29. So let's do that and see if it gives us any more information. So technically what I just said was I was going to represent the tens, a 1 in the tens place twice, and then a 2 in the tens place twice, a 3 in the tens place twice, and a 4 in the tens place twice. But we happen to already know, with only having the 19 here, I don't have any entries for this first line. So I would really just leave that off and put my 19 here. And now it's going to be important with the 20s and 30s to pay attention. All right, I have 20, so I need a 0, and then a 1, and a 2, and a 4, and then stop. That's the end of the lower 20s. The upper 20s would begin at 25. I happen to not have any. And then I have 2 26s, 2, 6, 26, a 27, 3 28s, and two 29s. Do the 30s the same way. The first three will just be for 30, 31, 32, 33, and 34. I don't have any 30s, but I have a 31. I have two 32s, three 32s, 33, three 34s, and then stop. 35 is where the next set begins, the upper 30s. 35, a single 37, and a single 39. And then just like I did with the teens, I really only have a single entry that even has a 4 in front. So I write 40 here, come back, erase that bottom one. Turns out I didn't need it. Breaking these up a little bit more, we can see that our symmetry is still showing up. As a matter of fact, we can be more precise about the fact that the center of the distribution is in the upper 20s and the lower 30s. And that effect that makes this seem like it probably follows some sort of normal distribution is very evident. We're just looking at it sideways. Now, if you haven't gotten a normal distribution yet, because stem leaf is usually pretty early on in the course, don't worry. Don't be afraid of that. But you're wondering, why am I even drawing this? Why do I write this way? This is one reason. Because you can do this pretty quick. That wasn't so tough. I did it twice in a couple of minutes. But it can give you a hint as to whether or not you need to be concerned, is my data distributed in a normal distribution, or is it all over the place? Is it really lumpy? Without having to do a whole lot of number crunching. So that's the stem and leaf plot. I hope that helped.